Okay, we are live here. This is a surprise impromptu symposium, and I am your host, John Branningham. So I just figured for tonight's vlog, sometimes I like to take a break from doing a pre-recorded thing and just get on here and ask some questions. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. And hello, Augustin and Cleaned Eggs. Hello. I highly recommend subscribing and setting up a notification for these live streams, because I'm starting to do them kind of randomly whenever I don't feel like filming a video. so yeah, I figured I'd do it tonight. I've been working real hard on scoring all day today, pretty much, or about half the day today. And yeah, just been enjoying it. So I figured I'd pop on here and just answer whatever questions anybody has. So hello, Robert. Welcome. And first person to get their question in will be, and maybe the only question answered. I don't know. Maybe I'll only do one question. Maybe two. Oh, there we go. Clinged Egg says he wants, or she, I'm not sure actually. Can you look over one of my small ternary form pieces? Yes, I can. So go ahead and send it over in my email, just john.branningham@artofcomposing.com. And I'll try to open it up, preferably Music XML, unless you are on Sibelius 7.13, I think is what I'm on. Then I'll accept the Sibelius file as well. So in the meantime, somebody can post a question if you've got it. One thing I did for this current episode, which I'm kind of excited about how well it's working, is I was much more thorough on my spotting, and I'm writing an article about it right now. I wrote one about spotting just a few days ago, or about a week or so ago. And I was thinking about it even more. And what I realized is that there is huge value in doing a thorough spotting session, but it really does need to be thorough. And I recommended, what I'm finding is the more you watch the film, the episode, whatever it is, the more you watch it, the more you get it, the more your mind is able to place, where music starts and stops, the moods, the textures, the instrumentation, everything. And in fact, if you watch it once and then jump right into composing, or even just real detailed spotting, like you jump right into I'm going to really work out this scene, you don't give your mind time to fit it into a single timeline. And so what I actually did for this episode that I'm scoring, which is episode number 5 of a new soap opera, I drew up a real timeline, and I actually, colored it in with colored pencil, and each little block is a minute, and each episode is about 20 minutes long, 20 to 22 minutes. So I have 22 minutes up here. And then what I did is I took rough notes about where I wanted the music to start and stop, rough notes about timing, sympty time, and then I tried to get as precise as I could with labeling emotionally what's going on in the scene. So, for instance, in one scene here, I wrote start light, focus on light, mischievous feel, job tension, one of the characters asking for getting together with another character that so far they have been good friends. So there's a lot of suspiciousness and intrigue in the scene. And I tried to really be precise about what emotion I want to pull out of that. So the end one was suspiciousness. And when I found that the more precise I am with those aspects of it, kind of the general large-scale ideas of the scene and of the episode together, then the musical ideas really followed much smoother that way. So in previous episodes, I've been saying, okay, I'm going to try spotting real quick and then jumping right in so I can get a head start on the composition. And what I'm finding is it's much more efficient to really say, I'm going to take a whole day and do nothing but watch this film, 4 or 5 times. And while I do, I'm going to start big and get smaller and smaller and smaller. So on the first one, I'm just going to watch. On the second one, I'm just going to say, I think maybe a little bit of music here, a little bit of music there, a little there. And then maybe on further spotting, watching sessions, then I'll say, okay, I feel like the music really needs to start at 15:23 or 20:24 or whatever it is. And then when I actually get into Digital Performer, my DAW, I'll find the exact moment, 0, 0, 20, 32, 15 is the exact, whatever frame that I got to start. So yeah, I'm always trying to come up with tools that actually help me compose. Like, I feel like the music composition world can be very much like, oh, just dive into your DAW and get working, or it can be kind of the other way around and kind of afraid of new tools, at least the classical composition world. I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking kind of out of nowhere with that last idea. Maybe some people like new tools, but personally, I love them. I think they're really useful. And if there's a way that you can conceptualize about music in a different way, to make you kind of come at it from a different angle, then I just think that's extremely useful for any composer. So let me dive into my email here because I got the piece, and let's see. So okay, while we're waiting on that to load. I see another question here. How do you write an interesting chord progression with the constraints of form? For example, a period or sentence. I end up writing similar chords every time because I always have a cadence every 4 bars. Okay, I think that's a really good question. And the way I like to approach this is to not... you can give yourself goals, right? Intermediate goals. And if you find that you're always writing a cadence every 4 measures, then maybe you need to choose a slightly different form so you could have a compound basic idea. And I can't remember off the top of my head which hybrid this is. It's very similar to a sentence, and it's a compound basic idea where you don't cadence. Unlike in an antecedent phrase, you'd have a cadence, a weak cadence at the end of that repetition of the at the end of the second idea that you've got in there. But with a compound basic idea, there's no cadence at the end of it. It's just 2 basic ideas basically that don't cadence. And then give yourself an actual like chord or tonality to go to. So maybe you're going to go from F major to, well, I mean, you can pick an easy one like 5. You can go to C major, but you could say maybe I'm going to go to something different. I'm going to go F major, and then I'm going to try to make it to A major, right? And sorry, I've got like multiple. I got my Digital Performer up, and so I think it's playing a clarinet, and then I've got Sibelius playing a piano, and then of course it's the Note Performer piano, so it's got a little bit of a delay on it. Hold on. I'm going to switch to Sibelius. Let's see. Okay. So that's loading up for a second. Come on, Sibelius. And it's not working at all. Okay, let me find another piano. Hold on. I've got the pianos Platinum or whatever from East West Quantum Leap Symphony Orchestra. So they're pretty nice. That's the Steinway. Okay, so let me get back to what I was talking about. Let's say we want to go from like F over to, I think I said A major. Right now, we'll probably start maybe the first basic idea and just write something in F. So, or let's see. Nope, sorry, I'm in A minor. Maybe this kind of, always like this progression. Right, real simple. But now I've got to figure out how am I going to get over to A major, which maybe I'll do something like this. And right there, the progression has gotten just a little bit strange, right? It's not common to do that. By giving myself these harmonic goals to reach, right? At the end of my first 4-measure phrase, I'm going to try to get over to A major. By doing that, I don't have a choice. I have to break free of what I normally do. And so in a kind of a wider way, this is a constraint that you can place on yourself, just like any other constraint. You can put time signature, and I talked about this, I think, in the last vlog on sketching. But any constraints that you give yourself, really, they don't hinder your creativity. What they do is they open up your mind to new possibilities with a smaller amount of things. And so really, new possibilities is the key there. If I say I'm going from F over to A major, I've limited myself now. Now I can't just go anywhere on the keyboard. I can't just jump from this chord to that chord and then back to F again. I have to figure out a way to get there. And I don't necessarily have to do it standard. I mean, try writing a couple progressions that are functional, right, and traditional and sound classical, and then maybe try messing one of those up, right? Right? That sounds pretty nice, but now let's just mess it up somehow. Right? I wasn't really thinking there about these other weird, like some other weird system of harmony to make everything fit together. I took the first progression I wrote, and then I just threw some other stuff in the middle. And guess what? Most of the time, if your rhythm feels good and the way you phrase it, right? If I just go, whatever I did, right? It just feels awkward. But if I sound like I meant it, right? Right? I'm just playing with rhythm there. And then it becomes a lot more convincing that way. And in a sense, you just have to know the basic theory, right? You just have to know what's going to make it feel like it's going to give you forward momentum, and then just start messing around with things. Like a big part of composition should be that it's kind of fun, and it gets you to do stuff that is just like weird a little bit, just sit there and right. If you're not just noodling around a little bit occasionally and having fun with things, then you're just going to stress yourself out, and then you're going to say, this theory is killing my creativity, and I'm just going to go back to doing stuff by ear. So yeah, that's my process for trying to come up with something weird. It's often a constraint I give myself. It's saying I'm going to do this chord, right? Which is, I always love this chord. You hear John Williams use it all the time, and it's effectively a major 7th chord with a suspended 2nd. And if you say, I'm going to, for, an entire 4 measures, I'm going to stick to just that. Well, you can move around like that, Let's see. This is not the most natural thing to play, so I'm going to take a second. Right? For the soap opera I've been doing, I've been using that. I just think that's a really kind of cool sound. Right? And moving around. But then you can say, I'm going to do something even different. I'm going to say, stick with the same chord, and then I'm going to change the bass. Right? And then the whole meaning of that chord becomes different. And then maybe same chord, just starting on a different root and having an even, more different bass. That actually sounds really nice. That sounds kind of like a minor 11 chord. I guess it is. So you can really, I think, if you're feeling that you're getting stuck doing the same thing every 4 measures, ultimately, I think you're not having enough fun with it in the moment, and just say, okay, I'm going to just do something that normally maybe I wouldn't do. Okay, let me jump over to Cleaned Eggs piece here. Hopefully it's going to load. There we go. I'm going to skip the repeat. I'm sure there's a way for me to turn that off. Okay, so well done. I think it's well constructed. Overall, I didn't see really many issues, just more stylistic choices. So I would say, and I say this to a lot of people actually, when you get to the point of finishing a piece, that's usually the most fun you're going to start to have with it at that point, where you are... You take off a little bit of the weight of having to finish a piece of music, and now you can say, I'm just going to make it a little bit better here and a little bit better there. And if you give it a day or two just doing that, and not necessarily a new piece every day, I mean, sometimes that's good. Other times, just taking a little bit of time with it, you can create something that's got a lot of polish that just feels really great. So hopefully we can dive into it just a little bit. So I would say this first 2 measures, they work really well, There we go. Nothing wrong there. There's some opportunities if you really wanted, you could add some kind of more interesting harmony in the middle. So maybe something like this. Right, all I did was I kept the C pedal, and I just played a G7 chord. Right? Let's see. It just adds maybe a little bit more, movement and shimmer down below. It kind of, the tension kind of gives it that a little bit of a shimmering feel. So yeah, that was fine. I think your cadences you could probably smooth out a little bit. The motion is a bit jumpy. And there's nothing wrong with it per se, but I think especially at cadences, people expect to hear a little bit of stepwise motion, a little bit of that kind of feel, right? So something like this. That would give it a really kind of solid, like we're taking a pause for a moment. Here I feel like that wants to go. Right? It just, that gesture right there wants to just keep reaching up higher and higher. And making it feel like it's not just music that I'm writing, but it's music with a purpose. It's taking me from A to B, and a big part of that is leading the ear to those restful points. Let's see, what else? I think your contrasting middle's fine. It does what it needs to do. It focuses on that different harmonic area. And then let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. I when I'm in my A prime section down here, so that it's the recapitulation, which often, if you haven't been through my course or read William Kaplan's books, the recapitulation is often there's redundant material removed, so you can convey the original sense of the theme, but in only 4 measures usually. So and that's what we've done down here. Sorry, I added my harmony that I did, but yeah. Oh, here we go. I would I think maybe you're getting a little bit confused on the 5-6-4, and I mean, maybe you meant this. However, it's not a perfect authentic cadence if you do that, because a perfect authentic cadence by the book requires root movement from movement from both roots. So that movement right there, and doing any other kind of inversion, it doesn't have the rhetorical strength that cadence needs to say, I'm finishing up this piece. What I think maybe you meant to do here is a cadential 6-4, which I write 5-6-4 leading to 5-3. Some people write 1-6-4 simply because that actually reflects, I guess, more so the intervals. My 5-6-4 really reflects the motion, right? It's this. So if you were to extend this out, just because you're taking out redundant material and trying to condense it, your recapitulation doesn't mean you can't add to it. So if I come over here and let me see, I want to add another bar to it. It's in home. Oh, you know what? I just realized. I feel really stupid. I didn't have it up on the camera because I've been looking at the Sibelius the whole time. Let me rewind back a little bit and just show everybody what I was actually talking about. Hopefully you got it from my playing. I was trying to play along. So right up here is the area where I talked about adding the harmony. That. And then over here was the cadential idea that I was talking about, that I felt like could have been something a little more kind of like we're taking a break. And then, okay, so what I wanted to talk about, though, lastly, was this 5-6-4 over here. We could, I think, add a measure or two, and I'll just add a couple just so I don't have to add anymore if I want to do more than this. And I'll have to take away that bar line. So let's see. We've got this. If I do this 5-6-4 figure, I can really extend out this cadence. Let's see. I think I want to make even those last two. And you'll see this a lot, especially in like in kind of more romantic-y kind of pieces, or even Mozart will do these kind of huge ending. Maybe that's a little bit more Beethoven. So I kind of late classical, early romantic. That's where I think it starts to creep in. But you could really stretch these cadences out, and there's no need, not to. I guess unless you're making this a really concise piece. But he's. I think he had kind of another. Let's see. Why don't we do like. I don't know, we'll do a trill. So we're going to really make it grand. And I'm going to go up an octave on that one. So you see, I'm playing with stuff. And then just big. That's not what I wanted. Let's see. There we go. I know this is not the most elegant thing I've ever done, but I'm just trying to prove a point, is that you can really stretch this out. So we'll start from, why don't we start the whole last phrase? And I'll even add my harmony here. So I didn't do anything, magical there in terms of composition abilities. I basically went from 1 to 5 to 1 and so forth. But you can see it's not just about the musical material. It's not about the notes necessarily. I mean, it is, don't have all sorts of wrong notes all over the place. But it's also about how you're playing with time, how you're playing with dynamics. And form is a big thing in time. It's basically how you relate your music to time. But, you can stretch things on with just one chord. Right? And it's just taking simple things and saying, I'm going to do something big with it. So, you know what? Maybe that's the challenge for the day, is everybody needs to write something really, really simple, but then make it feel big and complex just by the way you're playing it. So I'm saying C major, and you're sticking to basically, diatonic chord progressions. Simple stuff, 1, 4, 5, 2, 5, 1 kind of stuff. And then you've got to make it feel like, what would Chopin do with 1 and 4 and 5? Or what would, whoever your favorite composer is, what if I gave Mahler 1, 4, and 5, what would he do out of that? Right? There's just so much you can do with simple chords and simple progressions that I think this should be the challenge for the day. Do it tomorrow. I'm not going to say challenge for the week. Just sit down and get it done. It shouldn't take you barely more than an hour to pump out a composition with just 1, 4, and 5 and beautiful melody. And I think as a challenge, it's useful. It's saying, once again, it's a constraint. It's giving yourself a smaller box with which you can expand into, and not this huge. You're not having to dive into the Grand Canyon. You're just getting into your bath. You're just taking a comfortable little bath, and you get to splash the water around however you want. That's your composition. It's a small thing with those constraints that you can actually handle. And this is perfect. C major, you get C major chord, you get F, and you get G. And I'm going to throw some bones to you here. So maybe you get F sharp and A flat. Go. Those are the extra notes you get. So you can do whatever. You can say, that's my F sharp and A flat. Oh, this is so much fun. Okay, 1, 4, and 5, F sharp and A flat. I want to hear what you guys do. So I don't know. Is there a way to tag in YouTube? I haven't really done this before. Maybe type in like Art of Composing Vlog Challenge or something like that. Tag it with that, and I want to hear what you guys come up with. 1, 4, 5, and F sharp and A flat, and it better sound like a human is involved in this. So I don't want it. It better not sound like Sibelius is pumping this out. So whatever you got to do, get in there. You know, if you got to download Reaper and learn it or whatever. But I want to hear it. So just tag it Art of Composing Vlog Challenge and see what you guys come up with. Okay. Sorry I didn't get to everybody else's questions. I'm kind of rambling on here now, and I believe my dinner is ready. So I'm going to sign off for the night. Thank you for joining me on another daily vlog, surprise mini composer symposium. I want to see how long I can get that, call it like a surprise quickie mini composer symposium for composers. Q&A. Okay. I will talk to everybody tomorrow. Where's my camera? Thank you.